one of the tools that I use a lot is this tool called Rise Science, which is like a sleep tracker, but it
Mm.
it rolls everything up into this like sleep debt number, and then it shows me kind of how my, I guess you call it my circadian rhythm works and where my dips are. And I've been I've used that in the past, and then especially, as an active kind of rescue time user again, I've been trying to kind of tie those 2 points together and be like, all right, I'm going to try to time, here's how much focus time I realistically can do. And then I'm going to try to time it to kind of my natural rhythms of my body. Have you found um, other like relationships either through your software or just anecdotally where folks have, or, like y- coupling all of this quantified self stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
tying it into making more better decisions about focus? Have you found anything like that that's been effective?
So much. I mean, it's challenged me because in some ways, I'm a quantified selfer, but I'm kind of like, I'd say I'm a recovering quantified selfer where like you can get too into the details and like get too focused on,
Right.
there's a lot of blowback now against some of the like, you know, life hacky stuff that they say that, people were sort of like finding false signals in the data and turning them
Yeah.
into clickbait, right? But there's truth to it, and there's a lot that I learned about that space by sort of being so close to it for so long. But I've never been like that much. It's kind of ironic because I was the least likely person to build as personal analytics tool because I just don't care about the level of detail that it gives me. It just
Yeah.
bores me. I care about results.
Yeah.
But to your point, one thing that we noticed, especially in like refactoring our entire product, was like we're actually not productivity analytics. We're actually digital wellness.
Hmm.
And we kind of like when we were looking at helping people get to their optimal productivity score, which is a thing that we don't do anymore. We do a focus goal. We realized that like our inspiration were things like Fitbit. We don't want people to spend too much time looking at the details. We want them to see a pattern of success and to
Hmm.
continue that pattern of success, right? Like streaks, accomplished your goals, and like support, like also auto adjusting. One of the things we're building is like if you overblow your focus goal, we'll adjust it. Like, okay, well, you're doing too well. We'll help you, keep on track with your level of success. Or if you're going below it, maybe there's reasons for it and we'll drop it down. We want you to be successful anyway. So digital wellness has a lot of overlap in some of our inspiration also comes from meditation and mindfulness apps and sleep tracking apps. And one of the sleep tracking apps, I can't remember the name of it now, that we looked at, it was a big inspiration for us too. How do you track things like, okay, I had a good night's sleep, what did I do the day before that led to it, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And so
Yeah.
what we're doing over the next year or so is we have this very elaborate API and integrations framework that we use to connect to Zapier and some other things. But we're looking at integrating closer with other digital wellness apps like fitness
Yeah.
trackers and sleep trackers and mindfulness apps and breathing services. And then we're starting early conversations with some of those to sort of like work together on a more holistic package of wellness.
Yeah.
Because a big untapped market of wellness is the time that you spend working. Like
Yeah.
people look at the other time, but nobody looks at like what is the
Right.
impact of your work and how well and how efficient you're working. Like that's a huge deal. That's a third of your life, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
so
Well, and it
yeah,
seems symbiotic too, right? Like the food that I eat, how
yes,
well I'm hydrating, my exercise will inform, or I would imagine impact my ability to focus for a couple hours a day or whatever it is. But then at the same
exactly.
time, like you were saying, um, if assuming I'm not a Facebook ad manager and I'm going on to, I'm getting my like dopamine hit constantly,
Right.
I would imagine that that's going to impact, my levels of anxiety. That probably will manifest itself in what I eat and my food decisions because I've drained my willpower or whatever it is. Like I have to think there's probably an interplay there that we're not currently tapping into fully.
Absolutely. And that's the sort of frontier of where we're going with this new version. Like the big overhaul we did over the past year was like getting us back to sort of parity with the kinds of features that are valuable in the same way that the old version was. And we feel like we've gotten there. We launched that. The next versions are about going deep on wellness, like
Mm.
really sort of like integrating with with, you know, like I did an experiment a few years ago. Like, what happens if I don't drink coffee for 10 days? Well, it turns out I was bad at my job because I can't talk to people if I don't drink coffee. And I just don't want to talk to people. It's a different thing for me. So you know, coffee is a useful, you know, medication for me, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know, we can track that, and we can be like, oh, we can make recommendations like, oh, maybe you're having trouble focusing, maybe you're having too much coffee, or maybe you're not exercising enough. And you know, exercise for me over the past year, especially during the pandemic, was transformative
Hmm.
in like how quickly I was able to reach my focus goal. Like
Yeah.
I do 2 walks a day for like 30 minutes or an hour, which is
Yeah.
a lot of time away from my
Yeah.
computer during my workday, but consistently it helps me do my job better,
Yeah.
and it's so valuable.
Yeah, I found the same thing. I started doing when I have a conference when I have a conference call, you know, with like status check-ins and things like that. Like, you don't really need to see my face and this stupid
Right.
picture for the 800th time. Like, I'm gonna take it. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk around the block, and yeah, it's hugely recharging.